Hi, it's Subble1975 and welcome to Black Ops 2. This is a League Play game. This is me and Elliot in Capture the Flag on slums, derping around. I do some kill whoring. We had a guy on our team that was terrible. We played against him a couple of games beforehand, so we knew how bad he was. But we kind of just let him run the flags, and I just concentrated on killing people, and we tried our best to escort him across the map. It ended up being, we ended up dropping to a 3, but at the point we dropped to a 3 it didn't really matter. We were so far ahead and the other team were terrible, which is why I was able to kill Hor so massively against them. But it was a fun game, I enjoyed myself, so I thought I'd bring it to you, and it's good background for this because what I want to talk to you about today is a bit of a funny one. So what I want to talk to you about is my theory with regards to competitive Call of Duty. Now, in my mind this makes sense, but I'm going to throw it out there and see what you guys think. Basically, I think that Call of Duty suffers as a competitive game from having this 1-year release cycle. If you look at something like CSGO, CSGO has been going as long as Black Ops 2. It was released about the same time as Black Ops 2 and is still going strong. Now they had 1.5 million viewers on their latest competitive live stream. You know, they broadcast to 1.5 million people when they last played a competitive tournament. Now, I think that the reason Call of Duty doesn't draw those sort of numbers is because people don't like the constant change. They don't like the fact that, you know, 1 year is one game and 1 year is another game. I think if Call of Duty went, this is our competitive title for the next 5 years or next 6 years, that sort of consistency would bring more viewers. They could then concentrate on making some games good and amazingly good for competitive, and then other games they could make them for just fun for, you know, public games, TDM domination, and not have to worry about the competitive side of Call of Duty at all. I think that would bring a difference in the style of maps. I think that would bring a difference into the way they approach the game. If they said this is going to be our competitive title for the next 6 years and they released it, say, as Call of Duty competitive, and they kept it separate from the casual games, I think that would help get more viewers, because people like to see the same thing. If they were still broadcasting Black Ops 2 as the competitive game, I would have paid far more attention to the pro scene this year than I have done. I have paid virtually no attention to the pro scene at all. I watched very little of Call of Duty COD Champs. I didn't watch any of it live. I read a news article the day after and looked at the results. I didn't bother watching live. Whereas in Black Ops 2 I did watch a fair few of the matches and I did enjoy it. So as me, as someone who's quite a casual watcher of competitive Call of Duty, I just get this feeling that if they'd have stayed with Black Ops 2 the whole way through from, you know, the last 5 or 6 years, it would have built a more steady growth of audience. I just personally believe people don't like the constant change, and people want to see a consistent game so they can measure people against it. By constantly changing the game, you're constantly changing who's good and who's not. Now obviously some players have transcended that and are brilliant in all the games. I mean, and you know who those ones are, but over the last 5 or 6 years some players have peaked, got better, and then disappeared off the radar. Some people have been very good at some games, some people have been much better at other games, and some people's level has never really sort of got settled because they keep constantly changing the game on them. And some players really do peak early and they get an early jump and they look like they're going to be a dominant player that season, and then some players take a little bit longer to get used to the game. I remember from my watching competitive days, Fear Assassin always took longer to acclimate to a new game, but was still a really dominant player, and it just took him that little bit longer to get used to the game. Some people start out really hot, first couple of events they're amazing, and then they disappear off as the other players catch up with their level of knowledge of spots, of grenade spots. So, you know, those people do grind a lot. Whereas if you have a game that goes on for 5 or 6 years, everyone knows what they're aiming for, everyone knows what they're playing. You know, even if it went on the same game for 10 years, I think that consistency would mean that you know what you're aiming for, you know what you got to do. And it would also mean that the people who want to play competitive have a Call of Duty that they play solidly, religiously, leaving more casual fun titles to the more casual and fun players, not having to worry about, you know, Mr. I want to be a pro gamer, which is, I think, you know, would be cool. I think separating the community into a more competitive scene and a more casual scene wouldn't be a particularly bad thing, but from a marketing and money making point of view it probably would be, and that's why Activision don't do it, because after all they're after the money. They don't really care about player enjoyment, player engagement, building a competitive scene. They just want to make as much money as possible. I mean, Activision have very much gone down this route of one new game a year, supply drops. Let's really, you know, milk the cash cow for as much money as we can, which I think is to the detriment of the competitive scene. I think people don't like the constant change. People get switched off. People like certain games, don't like other games, don't like the jumpy ones, like the boots on ground one, and that constant change up has, I think, certainly split the audience in terms of what games we play. And obviously here I am on Black Ops 2. There aren't many of us on Black Ops 2, but it's a decent enough player base. We're certainly not interested in playing the newer games. And then you've got people that are on Black Ops 3, that's a larger number there. Then you've got people that are, you know, on Call of Duty Ghosts, the very few that were 80. I think World War II may help get the community back into sort of one place, but then I'm not holding up much hope for COD World War II. I've said repeatedly I'm not getting it on release. I will look at it to see what the reviews are like. I will look at it to see what the user scores are like, and then I will make my decision around the Black Friday deals to see whether I can find the money to invest in COD World War II. To be honest, a lot of my friends are looking forward to Destiny 2 more than they are COD World War II, so, you know, I might not, you know, I might not get it. I might move away from COD. But let's face it, at my age, my reflexes are starting to go, and maybe it is time to go to a less PvP orientated game, a Twitch shooter. Maybe it's time to go with something that's, you know, rewards accuracy a bit more than hip fire spray and reactions. Don't know. That was a really good nade, which I get him with the nade, but then I still drop the lightning strike anyway. Bit of a waste, but, you know, my nade spots on slums are really good from spawn. Not that I'm constantly in teams that struggle to stop people capturing the flag, but that's one of my strengths on slums, is I do know the right angle and height to throw grenades at, to hit certain points on that direct flag run from garage back to cafe. So if you're running between garage and cafe against me, expect a nade to come flying over. I was actually really happy with this gameplay. I get a beautiful triple kill here, and it was just one of those games. My shot was pretty much on point, quite accurate, as you can see, and these guys weren't very good. It was a fun game that was competitive but not that competitive, and even when we went down to a 3, as you can see, for a large portion of the second half we've been a 3, they were still unable to make any sort of comeback. Now we kind of have a target, you know, when we play capture the flag. 6 flags always seems to be like what we aim for, and we like to make sure they don't get a flag. So this was you know, the last ditch effort from them, and it was all about desperately trying to stop, and I luckily got my streaks off that kill and was able to put in some work with lightning strike, and our teammate, who we mocked for being rubbish, was there again as the saviour. He got all the flags. He actually did a pretty good job for us, even though yeah, I don't think he was the best player on earth, but go teammate. And that was yeah, that was that. So we came, we saw, we conquered, we had a really good fun game, and that's what we play League Play for. It is a good laugh. You know, it's one of the better game modes on Black Ops 2, just for the fact that TDM and search and destroy in public matches is absolutely littered with cheats. So anyway, I leave the scoreboard up, and as you can see from that, we did okay. I got some decent kills, I had some fun, and Elliot was embarrassed because his kill cam was not the most accurate, but I thought it was fine. And that's all. Thanks for watching.
All hostiles have been erased. Good job.